What's up, you sorry shits? BP here. Oh man, living the dream. So, in case you guys don't know this or not, but the shit I was just drinking was Baja Blast, and that is delicious. Anyways, I know you guys are wondering why the hell does my background look as bad as it does? Well, let this be a lesson to you. This is what 17 years of child support looks like. So make sure, if you knock a girl up, make sure it is out of wedlock so they pay for it and you don't. Because if you get married and have a child, guess what happens? They get tired of your bullshit and they take the child and they freaking leave. Okay? So let that be a lesson to you. Anyways, aside from all the freaking garbage that's spewing out of my mouth, welcome to the channel, bro. This is BP, Big Papa. And in case you guys missed it, the last video I made only had 35 views. Probably less than that. And that is okay because I am proud of the fact that this is the worst channel in the history of YouTube. I've been here since 2011. My God, how could you possibly be on YouTube for over, 12 years? Going on 12 years and nobody watches this shit? I don't know, but I need to have a real serious conversation with myself. What are you doing, BP? Slap him across the face. Oh. Yeah, I need to get it together and have some better content. But here we go. Let's go ahead and jump right into this. And if you guys have any questions for me, please leave it down in the comments below and enjoy. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get this party started.
Women really don't give one singular shit about how much you're bodybuilding, how much you're carving out those sick lines in the little V line. You're gonna spend all day long in the gym, literally make it your entire hobby to be the perfect picture of manliness. Who are you doing that for? Women don't care.
Shut up, bitch!
Oh, please. They'll say stuff like that, like, oh, we don't care about muscles. We like dad bods. They are lying, bro. They are lying to your face. Okay. If they didn't care, they would not be at male strip clubs. All right. Hopefully this stays intact. All right. But yeah, just look at male strippers. They're jacked, they're ripped, they got six-pack abs. Okay, these girls are not sleeping with men with dad bods. That's just a facade. They're just lying to you to make you think, oh, we don't care about looks. No, they definitely do. Try to look your best and work on the best version of yourself. All right. Okay, so here on TikTok, they've been doing dating and review basically for 2022. So since it's the end of the year, they want to kind of do a PowerPoint presentation of how many dates they went on, how many men they slept with, and so on. Very freaking funny shit, especially if you're a guy watching this. You can just sit back and watch these same chicks that you took out on a date this year talk about how miserable their life is, and you're like, yeah, okay, lady. You've never had one bad day in your entire life, okay? Try being a guy for a change, Gee whiz. All right, so here we go.
The one TikTok that I went viral for this year was about dating. So this is why I had to have a 2022 dating wrapped, and 2022 was definitely a year of sexy, silly, goofy fun. It was also a year of procrastination, which is why I'm late on this trend. But let's get right into it. I don't like that a lot of these wraps don't define their own version of a romantic encounter. So here's mine: a mutually romantic interchange between two people. When I looked this up online,
I love how she's just talking at like 100 miles per hour. Just like, ladies, slow down, catch your breath. Okay, it's okay. You can talk in a normal tone of voice. All right, so a romantic encounter. I love how chicks just love to fluff terms up. Okay, instead of saying hookups or we had sex or something like that, they have to fluff it up to make it seem like they're innocent and sweet and cute and all that stuff. But let's just call a spade, okay? These chicks are going to present to you their numbers of how many men they hooked up with, okay? And just always remember, guys, anytime you see a girl's numbers or hear their numbers, always try to multiply that by like 5. So if she's been on like 20 dates, all right, in this presentation, just understand it's been about 100, okay? All right, let's continue.
Tryst and rendezvous were some of like the big synonyms that I was getting for it. So sure, I had a lot of trysts this year. Let's call it that. All right.
A lot of trysts. Really, lady? Okay. And guys, man, let me see if I can pull it up. Hang on. So anytime you're dealing with a gender that can jump on a website such as this, which is an escort website, okay, and tell you, hey, Johnny, I'm going out to Atlanta to visit family. You know, I'm going to go stay with my sister. Okay. Anytime they tell you something like that, okay, there's a good possibility they're going to jump on a website like this and charge men for the act. Okay. And don't be surprised if they come back with thousands and thousands of dollars in their pocket. And you're like, where'd you get all that money? Oh, that's right. She went traveling. Okay. Traveling. Oh, please. But yeah, guys, and this is another reason for you to not put up with their bullshit, because you can pretty much go on websites like these and pay about $100 to get whatever you want from whoever you want. So there's no reason for you to put up with bad behavior. But let's go ahead and finish up what she's trying to talk about.
So, what was the actual number of romantic encounters that I went on this year? 21, just like the age that I was for the majority of the year. How did I meet most of these? Hinge.
Age 21, the age to go have fun, right? I know there's like the sign on Grand Theft Auto 5 where it says, hell is waiting. Hell is waiting. A5. If you're having too much fun. See if it has that sign. Come on. Come on, Bing. Don't make me use Google now. Yeah, see, they're going to let me down. All right, but anyway, so in Grand Theft Auto 5, there's like this sign. It says hell is waiting if you're having fun. If you're having too much fun. God, I wish I could pull that up. Hell is waiting, GTA 5. Come on. Well, Google let me down. There it is. If you're having fun, hell is waiting for you. So just remember that, guys. It's not worth it. You know, when girls talk about, oh, I'm worth it. I'm worth it. No, you're not. Because if this is what waits for us that just want to enjoy your time and company, forget it. It's not worth it. I'd rather go be with Jesus, honestly. So anyways, let's see what we got here.
In person, though, for a lot of them, and just a couple Tinders, which I think is a pretty good number. With the Hinge ones, though, I think a majority of them I probably would have met in person anyways at some point. So that's another like interesting fact. Ages at the time.
That is interesting, because I think guys get on Tinder thinking, oh, I'm just going to, get with all these girls. No, it's not going to work that way, homie. Matter of fact, you're better off just playing it the old fashioned way and the traditional way of dating. Just going to sites that are a bit more traditional. You'll end up getting laid a lot faster, because a lot of these girls that do want to hook up have a lot of repressed sexuality. So they're like, oh, I can't express myself sexually because people will think I'm a hoe. Well, then they go on these dating apps like Match and Bumble and Hinge and all that, trying to meet men for the purpose of long-term relationships. Guess what they end up doing? Having one night stands with multiple people. So you ladies are no better than men. Okay.
I'm a first encounter. Again, I was 21 for the majority of the year, of which I think it's like mostly there. There's a couple numbers though that you should not pay too much attention to. So what did we do in our first date activity? Weird amount of Mexican restaurants.
What did we do on our first date activity? We went straight to their house and did the do.
Lots of tacos and margs as our like first like true activities this year. Lots of hookups in there too.
Woo, she says lots of hookups. Listen, guys, girls like this will make you take them out on like multiple dates, like 5 dates, spend hundreds, thousands of dollars just for the opportunity or the chance to sleep with them. But guess what? They're actually going home with other men, okay? Men that they actually find attractive, men that they're, sexually aroused by, okay? Those types of men are not taking them out on multiple dates. They might take them out on one, at the most 2 dates. And yeah, they're smashing, and some of them are trying to, snatch these girls up. I'm sure many of these men that she's gotten with have wanted, actively chased and desired a long-term relationship with her, but she's probably just been like, no, I'm only 21. I don't want anything serious right now. I want to see what else is out there. Okay. So the problem with that is that it's not a safe activity. Okay. You're talking about meeting new people every week. Okay. If she's been on 20 dates, multiply that by 5, that's 100 dates in a year. Okay, that's like two people. What's that? Two people per week that you're meeting, completely new. All right, and then just keep in mind, guys, a lot of these girls have men in rotation, so they might have 4 or 5 men in weekly rotations. I'll see Johnny on Friday and Saturday. I'll see Bobby on Monday and Tuesday, and then you get the idea.
And not going to elaborate too much on that. I did have 2 rollovers from the end of 2021. Just means that I met 2 people more towards the end of 2021, and I wanted to include those stats, just like how Spotify Wrapped I think kind of does on theirs. And then also there was one person that I met like earlier on in 2021 that like technically our first romantic encounter would have been up there. So
oh, but these numbers didn't count. I know I went on 21 dates, but really I went on like 50, but those didn't count.
So they were not included in the data, and that's why they have the like NA 2021. So let's start looking at some trends from the year, right? Hotness versus dateability. There were unfortunately a couple of like 5 and 2s this year, but we're not gonna think too much about that. As we can see, the trend line for hotness, that R number, is pretty close to 0. And so hotness and dateability do not have like too much correlation, but there was one true 10 that I was able to have a romantic encounter with this year. So
only one? Guys, listen, there's what's called the 80-20 rule. Okay, 80% of the men that you see are not getting laid. Okay, 80% of men in the world do not get women. Okay, so what does that mean? That means 20% of the men that you see and encounter on a daily basis are getting with 100% of the women. It's like this big secret that's just out in the open that nobody wants to talk about. 20% of men. Okay, I don't know if that's a female problem or a male problem, because I want to say, well, what are you 80% of men doing to not get laid? I mean, you've got websites like this, just pay for it and get it over with. But then again, I guess guys don't like to pay for it. I don't know. But maybe you guys are just all ugly. I don't know, man. Work on things that you can change. Like, I mean, obviously you can't change your height, but you could work on, like, working out, losing weight.
Good on you, sir. Now, the number of encounters together, unfortunately, mostly 1. There was a situationship in there, and there was one that was just too many, and a couple that are still ongoing. Now, Riz versus Kiss rating, I think that this is a...
But then again, after seeing like these TikTok videos, I'm like clearly disgusted, and I'm like, yeah, this is definitely not a guy problem. This is definitely a gender problem for you ladies. Okay, y'all need to work on this shit.
Really interesting number. The ones that you see down here that just have a kiss rating of 0 means that we never actually kissed. And then up here, there was somebody that was like a full best kisser, but didn't have the best Riz. So I don't know. But as you can see, I feel like the better your Riz, the better your kissing anyways. And then count of who ended it, it was in fact me for the majority of the time. Now, rapid fire stats round. The number that were 5'8" or below, unfortunately, is a whole 6.
Notice she says, unfortunately, they were short. like, lady, I thought you girls just kind of screen men beforehand, like ahead of time. You put it in your bios. Oh, you must be above 6 feet or so. And then like hypocritically get on here and say, no, I went on 6 dates with men 5'8" or below. Okay. So clearly you do date short men, but you want to get on here and publicly shame them for whatever reason. I guess because it looks good on you. And it's like, okay, but you admit you were attracted to them to some degree. And some of these men did smash, right? Oh, but we can't admit that. Nope.
Oh, unfortunately, a whole 6. Number that were exactly 5'11" was also 6, and I don't know why. Number that were above 6 feet, that were 5. And then, I'm trying to go fast. Number who didn't live where I do, 6. And the number that I think about and would still let hit again is 4. All right, thank you so much.
4, okay. 4, just the perfect number of her rotation. So, this stuff always cracks me up. I mean, I love watching these little videos because it just cracks me up. Like, okay, yeah, they always talk about how many men they want, or they always talk about, I want a man who makes 6 figures, 7 figures, and he's got to be above 6 feet tall and all this bullshit. And then when you really examine the men that they give with, you're like, wait a second, he was a felon. Wait a second, he wasn't 6 foot tall. Wait a second. Like their choice of men, it's like what they say and what they do is 2 completely different things. So I just kind of let them say what they want, and then I kind of know what the truth is, and yeah, just go from there. How much time do we have, by the way? Where are we at? Not bad, not bad. A few more minutes. Let's see if we can get through this. All right, so this guy here is in one of my groups online on Facebook, and it's freaking awesome. So this guy has like terrible English, but he tells a little story that I think is fascinating. He said, "I reconnected with a girl who liked me ages ago. I hadn't seen her in like 13 years. His English is terrible, but she came across me on a dating site after these 13 years. I invited myself to her place." You invited yourself, dude? You mean she invited you? I would assume. You can't just invite yourself over. That's kind of creepy. All right. Anyways, I invited myself to her place. Her kids were told to stay in their rooms, and she gave them a console to play with. I kissed her. She kissed back. We sat holding hands a bit, watching TV. Then she mentions my bus, and I better get it. I left. No sex. She later texts me, quote, a more bold move. You would have been nice. She later in days ghosted me, and she refused when I asked to meet her again. Was it something I'd done wrong, or was she not just interested right from the start? I'm confused about it. What did she think about me? Okay, so a lot of guys are like, "Oh man, you dropped the ball. Like, what's wrong with you, man? You should have made the first move." And to some extent, I would agree, but I mean, she's sitting there shaming him, like, "Hey, you should have made it more of a bold move, and that would have been nice." But you mean to tell me you can't initiate, lady? I mean, my current girlfriend will initiate when she wants it. Okay. I don't have to do anything. She just lets me know I want it. And then I'm like, okay. And I give it to her. It's like very simple. It's like the easiest shit ever. But somehow it's like always in the ball's in our court to make the first move. Listen, lady, if you want it, come and get it. Like, I don't have to be the one to initiate. This is often a problem in marriage. Like, you know, husbands will complain like, "I'm always initiating sex and she's always giving me an excuse. I got a headache, it's not that time of month, and like, oh, we agreed to once a year and all this other bullshit." And like, dude, they won't even agree to like once a year. Like, it's kind of like, what's the point? You might as well just get a roommate, man. And this is kind of why I'm kind of on the fence about relationships per se, because I'm just like, if I can't have a girlfriend who's going to give me intercourse at least once or twice a week, then why are we even conversing at all? Like, is it to have kids? I mean, I could kind of go adopt as a single dad. I mean, I could go and go adopt all the kids I want. Okay. Um, what do I need what do I need to knock up a woman for and put myself at risk of child support? I mean, you kind of think about this stuff and you go, you kind of kick back and you say, well, it might actually be better to just be single and not put up with this type of bullshit, because it's excruciating. I mean, it's painful. It's torture. Like, I love this woman and she won't give me none. All right. And this is obviously a first date, but kind of took it a little bit too far. But anyways, let's move on. Where are we at here? How much time I got? Gosh, I keep clicking on the wrong one. All right. We're at 16 minutes. This guy kind of wraps up what I just pretty much said.
The old marriage bait and switch. This is something you'll hear a lot of guys mime. What basically they're saying is that women will, in their mind, put on an act of over-the-top love and sexuality in the early stage of the relationship, and once she gets the man to commit in the form of marriage, she stops with the act and she shows her true self, which is a very asexual, nothing type of woman, because she doesn't have to put the act on anymore. And I'm sure that exists for a relatively small number of people, but for the most part, what is actually happening is you're seeing a phenomenon, which is something that a lot of people have noticed. And there have been literally books written on the topic, books by women. So don't jump all over me for saying this. I'm just basically sharing something that a lot of women, such as Esther Perel, who's a psychotherapist, author Wednesday Martin, psychologist Dr. Samantha Robin Whiten, and Meredith Chivers have all written about. And that is the phenomenon that women tend to be way more sexual, and have way more sexual desire outside of a committed long-term monogamous relationship. Some people listen to that, think it's somewhat disturbing. Some women hear me saying that and saying that's some kind of misogynistic thing to say. Not at all. It's just human nature. Now, some men listen to that and saying, aha, there you go. Evidence number one that why marry? That, in fact, is your stance. And yeah, don't marry. If having a partner who is at their peak of sexuality and so forth is of the utmost importance to you, yeah, date. jump from woman to woman. That's your ticket to experiencing that extreme heightened level of sexuality. If you're in fact want more out of life than that, you want a partner to go through life with, and maybe a long-term relationship or marriage is for you. What can we learn from this phenomenon is you should consistently introduce energy that you had in the honeymoon stage, the dating phase, the limerence phase, and sprinkle that into your long-term monogamous marriage or relationship throughout the relationship. Because if you don't, the natural state is for that desire knob to get turned down. So you need to know some tricks of the trade. And guess what? I happen to write a book about this for men. It's not for ladies, it's for men, and it's called The Dead Bedroom Fix. So please check it out. You can find out more. Amazon, deadbedroomfix.com, or dead.
Guys, there's nothing wrong with marriage. Marriage is a beautiful thing, especially if you have the right girl. The problem is the consequences of when it ends. And what you're essentially doing is you're handing the keys of your house, your car, and your bank accounts over to a woman who essentially could leave at any moment. She could leave at any moment over how she feels at that day and time. Okay, here's my keys. Here, go ahead. Like, that's extremely risky. Okay, so I mean, until they fix the marriage problem, like if I go before a judge and say I want a divorce, guess what they're going to say? Half goes to her. Okay, automatically, and it's not beneficial. So really, essentially, what it boils down to is this: you have to find ways around marriage to get marriage, so that if the consequences come up, that if the marriage or the relationship ends, there's no negative consequences. Okay, it's just a clean break. All right, that's why you should always own your own property, own your own everything. So when you come into a union with somebody and it doesn't work out, you can just kick her out and say, "Get out of my house," and things go back to normal. There's no negative consequence. That's how it was back in the old days. Like if you had a break with someone, like you wanted to divorce someone, all right, you simply wrote out a bill of divorce, you handed it to them, and you sent them on their merry way. It's like firing somebody from a job. You don't continue paying out alimony and child support to somebody that you fired. Okay, it's like unemployment. Okay, for example, if you're an employer at, let's say, Amazon, all right, you have an employee that you decide it's over with and you kick them out. Okay, you don't continue paying them for their hourly wage when they're not there. Okay, basically, I mean, only in the case of like disability or something like that, or retirement. But those people had a right to claim that sort of stuff. But we're talking about relationships here. If it's over, it's over. Okay, go get a new employer to pay for your bills. Don't bother me. Okay, it's not my problem. So that's the real issue here that men have, is the fact, not that marriage is bad or that they don't want marriage. They certainly do. They don't want the negative consequences that comes with when the marriage ends from a fickle woman, a woman who can't make up her mind, doesn't know what she wants. She has fleeting emotions, changing emotions like the seasons. Oh, I love him now. I hate him. This guy looks better. I should have upgraded. And they monkey branch from dude to dude. And it's like, you should have just kept the one you had. Like, we all could have told you that. Why'd you leave? So that's the real issue here, guys. But yeah, so typically what will happen is men and women will jump into a relationship or a marriage based on the physical aspect of it. It's sexual, it's exciting and so forth. And that usually dies out. So why are you going to invest your property and your money into this sort of thing that is going to die out eventually? Like it just isn't worth it. So in my personal opinion, it would only be worth it if I knew the negative consequences wouldn't be there when it does end. So I could just say, you know what, it was real, it was fun, but it's time for me to go camping and enjoy my life as a single guy. You see? So that's pretty much it, guys. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked this, let me know down in the comments below what you think. If you have any comments or questions for me, please let me know. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. BP signing out, man.